Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I am your host today, Jackie, and we have...
J-Fifth.
Peter.
And
Father Yodeler.
Yes, and we are today ranking attractions at the Disneyland park.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so we're going to Disneyland in our heads.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Can't get arrested doing that. Credit card already feels lighter.
My kid is under 3 years old.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you'll know when we're recording this because there's a viral clip of a woman getting arrested in the park.
With their 2 little kids.
With their 2 kids.
My favorite part's the little kids going, Ayuda! 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 It's just like, the police are... Who's going to mess with the police at Disneyland? Oh, I'm not.
Nope. I don't want to be banned forever from the park.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean...
I'll let the lawyers handle that.
If you don't know, the woman's lied multiple times of getting her children in the park.
They're not under 3.
Yes.
Nope.
Or they're under 2 where they're free. That's what she does. She gate crashes. And I was like, that's a thing?
Yeah, she puts the kids in the stroller and puts a blanket over them and sneaks them in. And Disney finally caught up to her and was like, no. So don't do that. Don't think you can trick Disney. And think you won't get consequence.
Honestly, for the most part, they'll let you, but if it becomes...
She's an annual pass holder.
It's a reoccurring thing where she's done this multiple
She's got a
times.
reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And those gate people, they work there
and
all the time. They know. They talk.
I guess there's like postings of her doing it online.
And the theme park's revenue is down 6%, so...
Mickey's coming down.
Yeah.
You're going to go to Disney jail. We're going to have like character, the Sheriff Pete, with his peg leg walking around, hitting the bars. All right, so what's this episode about again?
Yeah, we're ranking attractions. We're ranking story attractions.
So what
book report. Book reports.
So these are...
So you want to name them off?
Movie. Yep. So the attractions
at Disneyland.
At Disneyland Resort. I chose not to include the Disney World ones because there were some duplicates and some exact copies, and I was like, maybe we'll do that another time.
Yes. So these attractions are Alice in Wonderland, Finding Nemo, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Mr. Toad, Peter Pan, Pinocchio's Darling Journey.
Daring.
Sorry.
It's a darling. You give Gorilla Deville.
I know.
It's a darling adventure.
When I said that, I was like, that doesn't make sense. Roger Rabbit Cartoon Spin, Snow White's Enchanted Wish, The Little Mermaid, Monsters Inc., and Radiator Spring Racers.
It was hard composing this list because it was like...
Do you include Incredicoaster?
No, that wasn't hard for me because that wasn't centered on it's not telling a story from the movie.
No.
But the ones that I struggled with was Indiana Jones, Star Tours.
Because they're telling a different story.
Right. But the Indiana Jones one was probably the hardest one because there's enough of the typical Indiana Jones tropes from the movies that you could...
But it's not based off anything.
But it's not based. And so that's why I was like, I have to... Because if I included that, then I had to include, like, Millennium Falcon and Rise of the Resistance. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to cut it all out.
Let's just say this. Why Mr. Toad's Wild Ride?
Well, because it's still based on the movie.
Is it?
Yeah, for the most part. Like it does it, and that comes a part of it does. It's not.
Story.
Yeah, but like it has the pinpoints of the movie, certain pinpoints.
I don't know.
Well,
that can go into the debate.
But the attraction,
that's why I was curious. I was all like, what made it?
Right.
Didn't.
They had it in mind as like you're playing the part of Toad in the movie. That was kind of the original design for most of those Fantasyland attractions. So I felt like you kind of have to include Mr. Toad, even though it's not
And we'll probably get into that discussion about Mr. Toad's storytelling aspect.
Well, and I think the original idea of this episode was to rank the dark rides, but it's hard to what's a dark ride, what's not.
That list got really long because it says there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Teacups
dark
is not a dark ride.
Nope.
Unless it's
If you close your eyes, it is.
at night, it's kind of dark, I guess.
Yeah. So we are going. So out of those attractions at Disneyland, we're gonna rank them.
And California Adventure.
And California Adventure because there was only like 2. So
The Disneyland Resort,
yes.
There's 3
Was there 3?
monsters,
Radiators,
Radiators,
and Little
and
Mermaid.
Little
Oh,
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid, yeah.
All right. Shall
Are
we
starting
go
from the top?
should
or
we
the
go
bottom?
bottom?
We'll go bottom.
Let's go bottom.
Work from the bottom. This
My-
one, we're going to come to consensus on this one.
My
I
bottom is Finding Nemo.
think. Really?
Finding Nemo.
Nemo.
Oh, no. Monsters, Inc. Oh, no. Monsters, Inc. is definitely at the bottom. Just
Us 3 kids hate the Nemo attraction. We harp on this attraction a lot.
For me, the queue design and being in it, it's an 11. The weight, it's 11 out of 11.
I like the look of it. I don't
looks
want them
pretty.
to ever get rid of it because it's pretty.
That's a really big aesthetic that you've just said there.
there is other than Radiator Springs, it's probably the most expensive dark
Oh,
ride.
without a doubt. Without a doubt. It takes so much money to
Expensive.
upkeep that attraction because, like, when they have to do maintenance on that thing's down for like a year
Yeah.
because they have to drain it. They have to, like, repaint all the rocks
Yeah.
and everything like that and then fill it back up again. Oh, man.
For me, the highest point is maybe the story. Like where they have the guy and the speaker telling you what's going on
Right.
outside your little porthole.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's not
I
enjoyable.
do not rank that bottom. Monsters Inc. is definitely
Well,
at the
we're
bottom.
probably close to.
Yeah, my net
Monsters.
number 10
is Monsters.
is
Same here.
Monsters.
Same here. So we'll get
Yeah.
to Monsters here in a second, but a little bit on Nemo. It's not fun. It's as an adult. It's not very fun to hunch into and put your face into that porthole with
Which, how many
every-
people
every
have done
fa-
that?
Yeah, exactly. How many people have stuffed their faces up against that window just to see the little animated Nemo figures and things like that? For this story being a little weak. It's a weak story, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can't think of an aspect of the actual attraction itself that I enjoy besides it looks pretty when I'm walking by it.
I disagree.
Well, tell us
why you disagree.
You give us
I
your
think there's an adventure excitement of going into a submarine and going on this adventure under the water. And it feels like you're under the water and they're telling a story along with it. The jellyfish scene's fun. I don't know. I think it
is a unique experience
It
that
is
you
a
can't get
unique
out
experience.
of. You don't get that experience
the
anywhere
line
else.
is a problem, but it did make it to number 9 in mine.
I would be curious to have Peter's kids rank these attractions.
Yeah.
that
see
would be interesting.
How do kids?
How they would.
what would their
Maybe you can
perspective.
post that somewhere.
Well, they would have to ride Nemo.
Oh, they haven't.
I don't know if they've ever written that ride, honestly. I don't think they may have done it. Like maybe my oldest has, but I don't even think my other one has.
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I just don't like getting up and down. And if you're the first person in your group going, that means your face is in somebody else's butt as they're going up the stupid stairs. I just don't like the logistics of getting in and out of that. The queue's miserable. It just doesn't do it for me.
You're for getting rid of that attraction entirely. It sounds like.
I'm okay with it.
I'm fine with them getting rid of that.
I would be okay with
And Autopia and the Innovations building.
Would you
could
want
put
them to get rid of
so
the
much
water?
more. Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
water needs to stay.
Water has to stay there.
I think it just
It's
adds
aesthetically,
a
it's
great
gorgeous.
atmosphere to it.
So does Rivers
Rather-
of America at the Magic Kingdom.
But if you just concrete it
Yeah.
over, it's going to be like, meh.
They,
It depends
you're
on what
gonna-
you put there.
what you put
Depends on
there,
what
people
you
will be
put
like,
there.
oh, that was here. Well, this is much better.
Mm-hmm.
It
depends on what you put there.
it's a lot of real estate,
It is.
and Autopia's there, and no one's gonna be like, well, some people like the smell of Autopia. I don't like the smell of Trucker gas station.
Well, that smell's about to go away because they announced they're going all electric with that attraction.
Yeah,
so.
we'll see about that.
So
There's
yeah,
no timeline on that one.
it made it up to number 9 for me. I appreciate it. It is a hard one to decide that, yes, I'm going to ride that attraction because the line looks like, oh, I don't want to stay.
When-
The
in
queue
this line.
outside is terrible.
It's terrible. When do you decide to ride that ride?
When I'm on the gumball rally.
When you have to.
When you have to.
early in the morning or
Yes,
late at night.
early in the morning is a great time. That's when we rode it.
Because
at
nobody
the
else
gumball
wants to
rally.
ride that thing first thing in
No
the
one's
morning.
rope dropping Nemo.
Yeah.
So it is a good time to do it.
Well, yes and no, because they're not running as many
I
submarines.
just
first
remember
thing in the morning
when
either,
that
so.
attraction opened up and the lines were so long. They were like,
They're always long. I never seen that line going, whoo, we got to get in that now because it ain't getting any better. Like,
Hey,
no.
The gumball rally it was
That's
like
the best I've
empty.
ever seen it.
Yep,
Yeah.
it was empty.
Because nobody's in their right mind going, Space Mountain or Finding Nemo.
We got the fast pass for Space Mountain, and then we got in the line for
Right.
Finding
Yeah.
Nemo.
All right, so there's 2 Finding Nemo rides. There's the one at Disney World, and there's this one. Is the one at Disney World better?
oh, yes. Hands down. It's the same ride
Same-
concept
same
as Little
story.
Mermaid.
It's
Yeah.
shorter.
Yes.
It's inside.
I say you lose the adventure side of it.
You get a song, though.
Yeah.
You get
It's
In the Big Blue World.
Yeah.
And the queue's better.
it's just
Yeah.
a different riding vehicle. I think I enjoy
It
that.
is. It's like comparing the two different Space Mountains. They're two different.
They're the
Right.
same.
yeah,
There's nothing different. You know what grinds my gears?
exactly.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. Number 10, Monsters, Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
That was 11 for me.
Yeah.
No joy in standing in that line. If there's no line, okay. But
It's
beyond that.
when
no.
they added Lightning Lane or Fast Pass
Oh, it
to
ruined
it,
it.
Oh.
it killed the ride. It was actually, I would have ranked it a lot higher on the list, but now it's like, it's worse than Peter Pan.
Yeah.
It's a line that's worse than Peter Pan, and you don't get a cool experience like you do in Peter Pan.
Yeah,
The-
too many bad experiences waiting in that line.
It's like when I see that line at like 60 minutes, I go, are you crazy? Like, why would you decide to get, I wouldn't get in that line if it was 30 minutes.
I'll go see Disneyland's version of PhilharMagic at least 2 times before I go do that.
Yes.
And I don't like the Disneyland version of Mickey's
Oh, no.
PhilharMagic.
Air conditioned inside. Yeah.
I even did Lightning Lane on that attraction because, like, we had it. We're like, why not, you know? So we did it. And
You've got some resentment towards this attraction.
Well, yes, I have a bad experience. But, like, we did Lightning Lane, and we waited 15 minutes, and I thought that was too long for Lightning Lane for this ride.
Hey, I paid for this. Get me in this ride now.
Yes, as far as I probably will not go on this very often, just because we rode it. We parked a wheelchair outside of the attraction and someone stole it. And it was at the end of the night and it just kind of ruined our evening.
Who's a cast member line? I'm picking up the strollers. I'm picking up the wheelchairs. You know, just doing their job.
It was a sad moment. But so because of that sad experience, Monsters Inc. attraction is unfortunately got hit in that trauma.
Bad
I will say
memories.
this, to give Monsters some props, it does a really good job of telling the story.
There is.
It's on the better end of the
follow
storytelling.
it, yeah.
It does a solid job of guiding you through A to B.
And the door scene is
of the
great.
story. The door scene
Yeah,
is
I was
great.
gonna
You
say
see that
it's
and you're
probably
going,
the
man,
best
I wish
one.
this was a roller coaster and we were riding doors. You know, that would be
Right.
cool.
Which they're bringing to Disney World.
Maybe.
I think that one's coming. They have a... I don't know. We'll find out.
They're still trying to figure out
What's
where they're
everyone's
putting that
number
thing.
9? That's what I want to know. Like, what?
This is where things got great.
This is where it's like,
things
ooh,
got a little
I'm
gray.
gonna probably ruffle feathers with this one.
Probably same here.
I have Pinocchio.
I'm with Jackie, so maybe not.
I had Pooh.
Ooh, Pooh's actually.
I had Winnie the Pooh.
I number 9 I had Finding Nemo, but at number 10 I had Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
Ooh, Roger Rabbit. I don't like Roger Rabbit, but somehow on my math thing, I have it higher up than I would want to.
The best thing about Roger Rabbit is I like the ride vehicles that are connected because it gives you opportunities to take pictures. If you got family in both vehicles, you can be in one and take pictures of the person riding in the other one that you're attached to.
It tells the story.
Peter, what was your number
Yes.
9?
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, that's
so
right.
let's talk about
Pinocchio. Let's
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, because we got 2 of them.
So where was everyone else's Pinocchio?
5.
Okay.
I like Pinocchio.
6.
I know you.
I'm
do.
on 6.
I like
Okay,
Pinocchio.
so we'll-
That's one of my like.
JF and I will
I
talk
rated-
things we don't like, and then you guys can talk about some positives. It's just not that fun. It's kind of like boring. It's not. It's like, for me, I went off of my criteria on this as like, what would I rather ride on? And Pinocchio is just kind of like, well, if there's no line, I'll go on it.
I mean,
That's one of the good things.
That's one of the good
because
things.
oftentimes
There's never a wait, rarely.
it is
Yeah, but
one
that
of the
also
best
shows like it's not a good ride.
well,
If you want to get that like quick ride in, and I said it was a positive, the wait time is high up. It's just the enjoyment is not there for me. I think it's one of the least enjoyable rides. It's just like it's the cheapest ride
Yeah.
experience you can get.
For me. I think it's got a good beginning and a good end, but the middle's kind of.
Meh.
How much time do I really want to spend in Pleasure
I would love
Island?
for them to
it's
redo
like
it.
too much of that.
I would love for them to redo it to like they did with Snow White.
It would be nice.
I
Yeah.
think I really enjoyed this one's usually when I rope drop Fantasyland, this is usually ride number 2.
What's ride number 1? Dumbo or
Snow
Peter Pan?
White.
Snow White.
Snow White. Well, like first ride that I ride in Fantasyland. So it's usually I'll ride Snow White first and then just go into the line to Pinocchio right after that because they're right next
And
to
then
each
you
other.
just like begrudgingly get in the Peter Pan line because you hate that.
Peter Pan tends to get overlooked because it's already a 45-minute wait.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've only got 2 hours before the crowds fully envelop the rest of the
Yes.
park, so I'm gonna go to the next short. I'll go on Dumbo next and things like that.
Yeah, there's no beating Peter Pan.
No.
It's rare.
Oh,
It's
the only time is when it's hot
And
and it's the
miserable.
middle of the day.
So
then
let
the
her
line
slow-
gets
Time.
short.
When
And
the
it-
sun is hitting that cue.
queue, then everybody says nope.
But I
Not
think
sitting
Pinocchio
there.
does a good job telling the story.
Yeah.
You know, you start things off. You start off on a high point. I got no strings. You know, you get your villains. You get Stromboli scene. Then you go to Pleasure Island. I think the Pleasure Island scene is fun. There's a lot going on, a lot to look at. I think it's quite enjoyable. I like the fake out with Monstro the whale, where you think it's a rock, but it pops out at you.
the
Like,
ending there's a good one,
it's a
yeah.
fun scare moment right there.
And the blue fairy scene at
The
the,
blue
end
fairy-
is magical.
Right.
Love that.
So like, for what the experience I get for the amount of time I wait for it is a net positive.
Yeah, I think the story and the enjoyment of it is just too low. It's too clunky,
Yeah.
and it's like you watch it and you're like, if it's anything longer than 15 minutes, you really start to resent it. Like, I really need to walk on this ride to really not feel like I was cheated.
We
Yeah.
have been spoiled with short lines there, yeah. when
And that's why it's like if I see the
Right,
line
like
is
it-
outside, I'm like,
No,
nope.
correct. I agree.
I
with
am
you.
walking on this.
I agree with you on that. I would not go in that line if I see people standing
Outside.
in that front entry port.
However, if I have children that are the right age, I would say I'd still do it.
Yeah.
Of course, they may be terrified. It's a dark ride now.
It happens. There's kids at any time of the night.
All right, let's go to number 8. I think we're all going to be different on this one. I have Roger Rabbit.
I have The Little Mermaid.
That's my number 1.
Interesting.
I have Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad. I'm with Peter. Mr. Toad. Story's the weakest because it's not even
It's-
close to the original story.
It's a fun ride.
If you were
I
giving a book
love-
report, you would get a D.
Right. Correct. It's like you gave a book report, you didn't read the book, and you're giving a presentation.
But
to the
hey,
class.
that presentation is fun.
It's
It
a
is,
fun- it's a
and that's
fun
why you
ride.
get a D plus.
It's a fun
Hey,
ride.
we're out guilty, you know.
I have
that's
Mr. Toad as
fun.
number 2.
So you got a high.
I look forward for this
I-
ride.
it's
It's
fair.
a must-do every time I go. I have fond memories of this attraction with my friends.
It's number 4 for me.
It is high up. Like, if they got rid of this attraction at Disneyland, I would be mad.
Yes, I agree. When they got rid of it at Walt Disney World, I said, what?
Yeah.
That was, and so, no, you don't touch that at Disneyland.
No, they learned their lesson. They learned their lesson at Disney World. They're like, we can't touch the sacred cow.
Yeah, the 4 right there. You just can't.
Nope. We can up them, but we can't change them.
Yeah.
Mr. Toad, yeah, the story's the weakest part.
Yes.
The
and
story's not, but what you get to
But
do
the
on the ride
interactions,
is
you get to
fun.
drive the vehicle.
It's a fun experience.
everything else, the queue's fine.
Yeah.
The wait time,
Great.
It's always
it's
manageable.
normal.
It's the
It's
same.
manageable.
It's the same.
It self-manages itself, and then the enjoyment's up there. It's just the story really brought down its
It
score
does.
for me.
If you-
It
if
would have
you-
been in the top 3 easily
Correct.
if it was closer to the original story, where you get a bar fight and no.
This is that it's kind of like when you're saying
And I think if we
I
had the-
didn't like the movie because the book was so much better, but
Yep.
when you're making a movie, that's different than a book.
And-
And when you're making a ride, if you rode the Mr. Toad story, you'd probably be bored to death.
Now,
I
Now
think
the
it would be
ride.
all right still because of the car. Like the train, and then you got the devil, and you got like this judge, and you're just like, you watch the movie and you're like, what is this? I watched the cartoon and I was like,
nope.
wow, that is not even close. And
No.
it's like the teacher going, what? And you're like,
I will say this. If we were comparing Disneyland, Disney World had a better version. I think they had a better version of the ride, personally.
they had
I
more
don't
space.
know if I ever rode it, or I
No,
don't
you didn't.
remember.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably didn't because I
It was
You-
like
you
at
rode
that
Winnie the
point-
Pooh.
I avoided the rides that were duplicates in favor of the ones that were new.
Well, because
did that,
because
yeah,
because the
yeah,
Disney
yeah.
World one actually had 2 separate tracks. So
oh,
like there were 2 different experiences.
okay.
So like you can go in line for one and then go back in line and ride the other one and have completely different ride
oh,
experience.
that's fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll go to my Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
was-
we can talk Roger
Let's
Rabbit.
talk Roger Rabbit.
It's lower. The line is always long. The queue.
Why? Why? Get rid of the fast pass, please.
The queue is terrible.
You know what?
It was fun.
Well,
When it
it's-
first opened up, that queue was great. Because
It's-
that was one of the early experiments into
It's-
Which
making
queue's
the
better,
queue
a chain link one or just that one? You're at least immersed into the
queue
town.
is terrible because you're stuck there long. I guess
It's
is
the
why.
fast passes that are slowing down the
I remember
queue.
before Fast Pass, and I remember that line. I was like, "This is painful."
It was still painful.
It's the
without
blind
Fast
corner.
Pass.
Like, oh, we're gonna turn the corner. They're gonna ride the ride.
It was you never
Nope.
knew when you were gonna get back to the main room,
Yeah,
to the load.
because you
room.
get teased with it. You're like, "Oh, there it is," and then nope. You're gonna go this corner, that corner, this corner.
But I had that one ranked at 6 for me.
It is ranked number 5 for me.
It's an attraction
Number
that I
10.
can easily skip when I go to the parks.
I love Roger Rabbit. He's one of my, I love the movie. I think one of the best illusions is the hole in the wall
Yeah.
illusion. It still throws people off today. Like people still don't understand how that works.
I like the spinning.
The
vehicle
spinning aspect
also.
is great. Like it makes that experience unique compared to a Peter Pan or Snow White
Yes.
or Pinocchio, where it's like you feel like you're in somewhat control. That like it's not like you are forced to look at one-sided perspective of the story. You can look anywhere you want, and it's all themed all around you.
It's an attraction. When they announced that they're closing down Toontown to like remodel it, I was shocked that they weren't gonna like reskin.
We found
Roger
out that they were
Rabbit.
going to.
Oh, were they?
There was talks that it was going to. Then COVID hit, and they got rid of it. They were going to retheme it to DuckTales. They were going to change it to DuckTales.
That would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
But then COVID hit, and then budgets got
Budgets.
cut, and so Roger Rabbit lives to.
Budgets got cut. Oh wow.
Yep.
So maybe they'll reskin it in the future.
Probably all these attractions are subject to change. I don't consider Roger Rabbit a sacred cow for people.
No.
No, it's too new with Toontown. And they've gotten rid of most of Toontown. It's the only thing that remains.
You got rid of the part that everyone liked, and that was Goofy's bounce house.
That was the best.
Yeah. All right, number 7, I have Peter Pan.
Number 7, I had Peter Pan as well.
Wow. I had Alice.
Pooh. I had Pooh down.
Ready to talk about Pooh?
We can talk about Pooh.
Pooh's up high for me, so.
Because
we
I
could-
had it at 9.
Pooh
so-
is 6. It's
So
in the
Pooh
middle.
is number 2 for me.
Winnie the It's a cute ride.
I only ride it when I have to wait with my kid that's not tall enough.
It's
to
a number
ride
1
Splash
weight.
Mountain.
You walk right on
You do
every
walk on.
time.
You do walk
And
right
it's
You
on.
do walk
cute.
in. I love the forest atmosphere
Yes.
of the outside. It makes it an enjoyable queue.
You hear the little
Even-
bees buzzing.
You hear the bees buzzing. It is cute and it is fun. When you see the Tokyo version, you kind of go, "Oh,
We got gypped.
cheated."
Oh.
Yeah.
Big time.
Comparison is the thief of joy on
Oh,
that one.
Yes.
Huge. Like that attraction built in I think the 90s is still like one of those like you have to ride this ride.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, Winnie the Pooh? Yes, because it's the first trackless ride that Disney ever made. Was this Winnie the Pooh
And
attraction?
Pooh
in
is an
Tokyo.
actual animatronic
Yes.
instead of just a statue.
Yeah.
But the Heffalumps and Woozle scene is
So fun.
excellent. It's
So
fun.
fun.
Such a fun song. Use
I
it
would
well in
say-
there. They got great, fun, exciting scenes. The blustery day, the rain.
I
the
would say the
birthday
Winnie
party.
the Pooh attraction was the last dark ride attraction that they made before they did like the animatronics and like the
Yes, it's the last cutout one.
yes.
But they had some fun effects in there. I enjoy it. I go
It's
on it
cute.
and I'm not disappointed. I'm like, yeah, I got this. My cost to benefit is high there.
Yep. And you usually have Pooh characters right outside, too.
So you
it's-
Peter,
it's a
you
good
ranked
day.
this lower.
I did.
So why is it lower?
I could live without it. I don't need it. Like, I could go trips without riding it and it not bother me.
I would be sad if they got rid of it.
I just think that area, I have a lot of good feelings about being in
I
that
like the
corner
shop.
of the air. I
I
love
love
the
the
shops.
shop.
I
The
love
shop
the
is
feeling
great.
after we ride Splash Mountain and we've all looked at the picture and then we're like, oh, let's continue this high, and we ride Winnie the Pooh and it just brings you back down.
I'll
and
say
just
this.
relaxing.
There's one part that I do not like because I normally go to Disneyland usually when it's colder. And it's usually like I'm freezing. And I'm like, all right, let's get in a ride. And we get into Pooh. And you're immediately blasted with fans. And you're like, ah! In the blustery day scene.
But there really isn't anything cartoony animation on that side of the park.
There isn't.
It's a good kid ride.
Yeah. Yes.
Won't be, Princess and the Frog will be changing that.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that's true. We used to have Splash Mountain, which was also right there. In
It
that
was
same
cartoonish.
neighborhood. Yes,
But that no
is.
one's ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had it high. I just think
Yeah.
the queue design's good, the weight, and then I
The
enjoy
story
it.
itself is
And
great.
the story goes.
It does
It's
a
a
good
poo
job.
story.
It
Yeah.
tells.
It's just, and so with that, it's average,
yeah.
and so
It
since
is
it
an
doesn't have
average
any
one.
other deficit, it gets higher rating.
And that's why, for me, it's in the middle. It's a solid attraction. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's in the middle there.
Yeah.
I never heard anybody going like, "That wasn't worth it.
Right.
What a waste!" Like no one says that. You may get that on like Peter Pan, where they walk out and they're like, "Man, that was a long time for
Anybody
30
ever have
seconds."
to wait a long time in Pooh?
No.
No.
'Cause people
I
walk
think-
out.
I think the longest I've waited was about 15 minutes.
Maybe when
Yeah.
it first
Yeah.
opened.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Peter Pan.
Peter Pan at 7.
I had it at 7 too.
That's weird.
I
had
have
it
it at number 2.
I have 4.
Number 2.
I'm
So
not
you
shocked.
dog on it.
I dog on it more than anybody else, but I have it ranked higher.
At number
mean-
2.
It's an okay attraction, but the line kills it.
The queue design and the wait every time. The enjoyment's like it's in the top 5 and its story it's one like cuz I'm immersed into it. Like I am in there with them. You're in a ship, you're flying through London.
Yes.
That
The
is
boat.
so magical.
It is so good. It's the number
So
one
magical.
story. That is Disneyland. That is magical.
If you're talking about an attraction that gives you the warm fuzzies, this attraction gives you the warm
You're
fuzzies.
flying over London, flying over Neverland. Just
It's
magical.
yes.
If you're
Just
taking your kid there for the first time,
Yeah,
you ride that
it.
ride and you're going, this is Disneyland. And they're going to be like, I like this. This was cool.
Yeah.
I can't get this at the mall. I
Number
can't get
2.
this. Yeah.
Number 2 for me.
I get it. But the queue and wait, everybody,
The queue
the demand
just-
for it's just too high.
Yeah,
If they put some umbrellas on there, boy, it'd be much better.
I think so.
I'm willing to do the queue. Not many people are willing to do it with me, but I'm willing to do the queue.
Just make sure you don't do it at the end of the night.
As long as I
Don't do it at the. Don't do it after the fireworks show. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Why?
As long as
Because all of the disability passes come in after the fireworks show,
Oh,
and
That way they're not in the
gunks it
sun
up.
or anything like that.
gotcha.
as long as I don't have to hold one of my kids are bricks.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've held
they
your
are.
kids before. Yeah.
My kids are bricks.
I put mortar on them when they go to sleep, and then I stack them on top of
know.
each other.
Bentley on Jungle Cruise. I'll never forget that one. Oh man.
We got to go upstairs.
Yeah.
And then when you're upstairs, we got to go downstairs now. There's still more queue.
He's still asleep. Oh no. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they're all 3 of my kids are just like they're not like fat
No.
kids.
No.
They're just dense.
They have a density with them.
Yes.
You're deceived.
I want the Wally chair.
this rating is different for if you have to hold your child.
Yes, it's true. It's true. All right, what's the next one? Do you want to talk about like Alice or
Or what
No,
ranking
so
are we
we
I don't know.
are at
We're all over the place. so.
6 for me. So I had Winnie the Pooh. Where are we at 6?
Snow White. Snow White was 6 for
I
me.
had Pinocchio.
The one that we haven't talked about on my list so far is Alice. I had Alice at 7.
We haven't talked about Little
We
Mermaid.
haven't talked about Snow White.
Snow White
Little
and
Mermaid.
Alice.
Let's talk
and
about-
Radiator Springs.
Let's talk about Snow White. Snow White's number 5.
Okay.
Number
6.
5 for me, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Yeah, 5. 5
2.
is Snow White.
2 for me.
For Snow White.
Yes.
The new or the original?
I like the new one.
Snow White is solid, good ride. It's kind of with Winnie the Pooh. It's a good ride to ride. The line isn't usually too bad.
More effort goes into the animatronic and the
Yeah.
little scenes. It
Yep.
comes to life more than cardboard cutouts
Right.
of Pinocchio.
Yes.
I really miss the scary trees. I miss that scene.
Just
in
go to the
there.
Haunted Mansion. You can get scary trees over there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just miss that scene.
Sure.
But that's not why I ranked it where it is. It's just ranked where it is.
You got to compare to something else, and you're going, no, this one's better.
If I-
As I said, some of these ones just end up in the middle. It's just like, but I really enjoy Snow White. I think it does a really good job of telling us the story of Snow White, You get the funds, you get the scary aspect, like not as much scary as it used to be, but you still get the great visual effect of the transformation of the queen.
That's great.
That still holds up. Like even today, like even my kids are like, oh man, I don't know how they did that. Like, but like it still holds up. The new figures that they have where Snow White's in the attraction now more often, and so like I think it does a really good job. I think the projection mapping helps amplify this attraction to another level.
Just little tweaks have really helped it out.
And we have a proper ending that doesn't end with a rock falling on us.
They really definitely try to make it a princess experience
they did.
rather than a scary experience like it was. It's definitely, I watched it right before a ride through on it, and I just said, okay, yeah, they really amped that. They got lots of the last 5 minutes of the movie. They got like 2 or 3 scenes in there from that. So
Yeah. Snow White's a good solid one. Where was Snow White for everyone? Mine was
6.
5.
5.
2.
Okay. So
it's
we
in-
all ranked it up
in the middle-ish,
higher,
but Peter's
yeah.
got it higher up for the reasons he just explained.
My number 4 is Little Mermaid.
My number 4 is Mr. Toad.
Alice.
4 was Peter Pan, but
Okay.
again, we haven't talked about Alice.
We haven't talked about Alice or Little Mermaid. Which one do we want to talk about?
Alice is number 3 for me.
Alice is number 1 for me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's tough, but yeah, Alice is 4 because, I mean, the story, you're jumping all over the place, but you go from you're outside, inside,
There's
outside.
something magical about
It's really
Yes.
cool.
It is, but why? Again, you got the Matterhorn right there. You
may
you've
get the
got
monorail,
you
like
get
honking the horn.
the fake leaves over there, and so on. The colors. It's just fun. It's
And
just
I have
fun
fond
doing
memories because when we went to the park, we would hit Alice early in the morning.
That. Yep.
It would usually be one of our first attractions.
Usually was not crowded.
It's
And
definitely the
because
second
of
most
that-
popular attraction in Fantasyland.
Is it?
yeah,
Well, dark ride, not including Matterhorn.
for line
but
wise, yeah, it's
next
between
to Peter Pan, yeah.
Yeah.
Its length and weight is about the
I
same.
never leave there going, oh, I'm glad I'm done with it. No.
No.
I walk
It's
away and it's like,
fun.
that was fun. They leave with happy,
It's a fun thing with the new effects on it too that they did on it. It's very fun and enjoyable. That's why it's ranked number 1. It's something that I look forward to
you're
doing.
really immersed into it.
Mm-hmm.
You're close to the animatronic or the little effects.
Yeah.
Like you're in it. It's not
Yes.
like it's like in a scene and you're driving by it.
It's probably going to be the first attraction I bring my child to.
Fun.
I don't know. This was one of those, like, it kind of I had to put it someplace, and that's just where it ended
Where
up.
did it end up on?
7.
7. Oh,
Yeah, there's
wow.
that middle area where there's plus or minus.
Right.
2
and
or
so,
3.
And I think the things that kind of made me harp against it, even though I like Alice, I do enjoy the attraction. I think the things I don't like how OSHA changed it for me.
Oh, the handrails.
Yeah, just the outside portion isn't as cool as it used to be.
It doesn't bother me that
Yeah,
much.
it bothers me.
You still have the effects.
It still bothers me.
Okay.
So.
Let's talk about Little Mermaid next.
Number 1.
That's number 4 for me. So it's up there. It's an enjoyable attraction, I
3.
would say.
3 for
8.
me.
Number 8.
Whoa.
Okay,
for
so
me.
why did you rank it so low?
Number 8. For some reason, the outside of the attraction does not bring me into it. Now at Disney World,
It's different.
way better.
Right.
But it's just kind of isolated there in the middle of nowhere in California Adventure.
It doesn't fit in with the rest of the
It
park.
doesn't fit in with anything there, so it's
You're not
So
wrong.
you're dinging the location.
I'm partially dinging it for that because I feel that's part of it. In Fantasyland, where they're all, let's go on Mr. Toad, let's go on Snow White, let's go on Pinocchio. You know, it's boom, boom, boom. You're getting all of that, and you don't get any of that. There's no, okay, we rode Little Mermaid.
It's clunky,
where do
like
we
when
go
going to it.
next?
Yeah.
And that's why it wouldn't surprise me if eventually the Disneyland version of Little Mermaid gets rethemed.
Yeah.
to something else.
Oh, that would be heartbreaking. My
Because-
daughter loved that ride.
Well, it's the only reason is because its location, because California Adventure is now become the Marvel Pixar park. And so,
Soon to be Avatar.
well, yeah, throw Avatar in there too. But like, yeah, and then Disneyland is the Disney and Star Wars park.
well, then they need to put, Little Mermaid over in that dead space where the little boats were by the
Oh, right.
Matterhorn.
Yeah.
Put it
Yeah.
somewhere over
Oh,
there.
yeah, it would work with the
That would fit
water
real
theme
well
and
there.
everything there.
Just-
that would work nicely.
Or if you want to get rid of Storybook, the
Oh no, don't get rid of the storybook. No.
you could put it there. It's just one of those things, or you put it where the stage show is, or the
Yeah.
stage.
But also when I write it, I love the movie The Little Mermaid, but for some reason something's missing in the flow.
the story is
Well,
like
it's-
it's the ending.
it's the ending. 'Cause
It's
we
so
don't-
clunky at
you,
that
you
part.
go immediately from kiss the girl to we're married, and then
Yeah.
the only hint of the Ursula conflict is like a little
Little
shaking Ursula in the background.
Yes.
Yeah, I ranked it really low for the story. What makes it high for me is its queue design. It's moving. It's
Yes.
Yeah.
going.
Oh,
its
yes.
wait time it's supreme.
Very minimal.
And the enjoyment, I have fun. The music's great.
Yeah.
To see the Ursula,
Oh yeah,
that's
Oh, yeah.
that I look
animatronic,
forward to
yep.
that scene. I'm going, dang, I love Ursula, the character, the villain, so good. And to have her sing and come alive like that, that's amazing.
Yeah,
So it's good.
And it's got a non-Disney character in the Disneyland version, Mr. Limpet.
Oh, does it really have Mr.
Yeah,
Limpet
he's in it. He's in the
Oh.
under the sea sequence.
Oh, that's fun.
You have to look a little bit behind you, but he's
Don
there
Knotts did a lot of work
with his glasses. The fish.
Would
with
you
the
like to
glasses.
explain who this character is for us normies over here?
There was a movie. I don't know what studio.
The Incredible Mr. Limpet or Amazing Mr. Limpet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don Knotts, who did, the Apple Dumpling Gang and so
Right.
on, was on the Andy Griffith Show as the deputy or whatever. Anyway, he was Mr. Limpet, who turns into an animated fish.
And many Disney animators helped make that sequence for the movie, where
And
they did an underwater animated fish scene, and they made him into a
It was
fish.
great to watch as a kid. I loved it.
So it's a nice little Easter egg.
It's a nice,
Yeah.
it's a cool Easter egg for
those who know
for the people who
and
know,
who care.
and the people who see it, and for the people who see it and don't know that it's an Easter egg, it fits in perfectly.
Yeah.
It fits in.
It's kinda
perfectly.
like
You don't-
seeing that
you don't
weird,
recognize it.
Like little leprechaun house
right.
there, and eventually, why?
Yeah,
Why is it there? Okay,
And
but you see it.
and it's
when I-
only at the Disneyland version.
When I think
Not at the
about
Disney
the when I exit the ride, again, when I exit all those Fantasyland rides, I'm in Fantasyland. When I exit that,
Sure.
I'm into Concrete Land.
You're in the San Francisco street area, the
It's just
bathroom
not-
area.
Just not as magical, so you just don't get that
I hear you.
magical feeling. So I think that kind of
I never took into consideration the exiting of the
Yeah.
ride and the continuation of the magic post ride.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we talk about the last attraction?
Was that Radiator Springs?
Radiator Springs. We haven't talked about. That's number 3 for me.
Number 3.
Number one.
One.
By far, I think
It's the best ride.
the most expansive. I think you
It's
get
worth
to
a
meet
fast
so
pass.
many characters in that ride.
Yep.
It's a fun experience. I like it way better than I think I ever liked any of the Cars movies. Not that I dislike the Cars movies, but they didn't necessarily leave a long-lasting impression with me. They were enjoyable to watch, but it's not like I rethought about their storyline or anything else afterwards.
You're laying in bed and be like, did Mater ever do that?
Yeah.
I
But
don't
you
know.
get-
These stories are pretty crazy.
There's all this fun, and it's slow, and then it's fast. It's
Right.
just such a great dark. If you're gonna, boy, and probably
It's so immersive too.
so immersive, and
Yep.
if you gotta save, did they get their money's worth out? There's
Yes.
way more money in that than any of the other dark
and
rides.
it's one of Disney's most reliable attractions that they have. That attraction has rarely ever gone down for long-term maintenance.
They
Like-
learned everything from
Test
Test
Track
Track.
and Indiana Jones, and
It breaks down all the time.
it breaks down, but like
It comes back.
But it's
it comes,
volume
it
and
comes
how they
back
were able
on
to-
really quickly, and they don't need like it needs to close for 8 months as we do massive.
Oh.
It closes for like a week, if that, when they do their maintenance. Like it is a very efficient attraction for Disney as well.
I think
always open usually.
you all make great points. I think it's a good ride. It's good story. The line is always super long, so you got to pay
Sure.
money now to ride
Single
it.
rider.
Or single
Go
rider.
Single rider, baby.
The wait is the worst part.
The wait is the worst, and there's no way of getting around it, unfortunately, because
Although I did watch a good video, good tip, that they said the waits were lower after 6 p.m.
I believe that because people are going to dinner
Dinner,
and then they
World
have
of
their
Color,
fast pass.
well,
and, then
and a
World
lot of
Color.
people try to do Radiator Springs early on.
Yeah.
People try to rope drop it. It's a
like,
higher
you-
So
priority.
it's an after sunset.
After sunset, you might find yourself waiting, 30 minutes instead
It's
of
in a
45
pocket,
or
and
an
so
hour.
people don't tend to plan being in a pocket at the end of the night.
And Carsland is kind of towards the frontish of the park. It's in the middle, so like people are, work
Usually,
their way up.
normally people after lunch are still migrating themselves to hang out in the pier area.
Yes. But I think it's a good ride. It's number 3, so it's in my top 3. Is it a ride that I can kind of skip on a vacation? Yes, it can be.
What was your number 1?
Alice.
Interesting. Okay.
Little Mermaid for me.
Was Little Mermaid.
I like Ursula.
Ursula's good.
And what was Peter's number 1?
Radiator.
Radiator, and Radiator was
Yeah, Radiator's high. It's just the wait time, and I think the story.
The animatronics are great.
I mean, the
you've
animatronics
got
good. The story part, I'm like, maybe I don't like cars as much, so the story's really hard for me to attach to it.
It hits certain key points the certain fun points from the movies. You got the whole.
I think it's more meeting the characters
Yep.
than it is actually following a story.
Right,
per
and
se.
that's why I struggled if I should include this one or not. But I felt like it had enough story bits in it.
It is a
that
dark ride.
It should be
is.
included.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, those are. We were kind of similar on some things, but kind of all over the place.
We all had like a buddy on one or two. Like
Yes.
Yes.
each one was we were going through. Like, oh, okay, we meet
was
up on this.
similar
Oh, we're
because,
friends
like,
on this one.
Me and Japheth were very similar in our ratings, and Peter and Father Yoder were similar in their ratings.
Mm,
A
And
couple.
some things,
There were some that
there
you
were
matched
some
on.
you were matched on.
Yeah.
So it was just an interesting
Observation.
thank you.
Of course.
But let us know what your rating would be on these attractions. What do you look forward to?
Tell us why Nemo's number 1.
Yeah. Convince us on Finding Nemo.
Because you've got to really like it to persevere to ride it.
Yeah. So let us know. You can follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram. All of our episodes are on YouTube, so check us out on YouTube. You can put us on
Finally
their
on there.
playlists and just let it run. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't. And also listen to us on Spotify. That really helps us out as well. But with that being said, have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember before your bobsled comes to a complete stop to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.